And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Senator Sherrod Brown on the line with us. Brown.senate.gov, his website. Oh, I just heard a beep. Did we just lose the senator?
No, you didn't.
Oh, great.
I don't know what that beep. You're hearing things, man. There was no beep.
Yeah, okay.
It's the first sign of something. I don't know what.
Okay, that was something else altogether. So, Senator, welcome back.
Good to be back.
It's great to have you with us.
Appreciate that.
The Senate is going off on holiday here for a week, I guess, without passing unemployment benefits, and also this fast track authority bill has been dropped in your lap. I'm curious your thoughts on those issues.
Well, unemployment it's just scandalous. I mean, it's been bipartisan in the past, and it's in my state alone. It's 52,000 people lost their unemployment at the end of last month, and another tens of thousands will lose it in the upcoming months. And it's social insurance. It's you pay in and you get out. If you're working, you get money out. If you've lost your job, you have to look for a job to get it. It's not welfare. It doesn't suggest lazy people, and that's kind of the right-wing view in this world today. And Republicans didn't used to be like this on this kind of issue. So we're going to keep trying and figure out how we're going to convince them to do it with public pressure on them to do the right thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. And thoughts on fast track? Yeah,
the issue that's become, well, first of all, the outgoing chairman of the Finance Committee, this is his bill. Once he leaves, which is no more than a month away, he's retiring, he's going to be an ambassador. I think this bill doesn't move in the Senate, and he may try to jam it through committee with mostly Republican votes. But what's really come through is that the template for all these trade agreements now is something called investor state or dispute resolution, where a company in one country can sue a foreign government. So an American tobacco company can sue a government that's got a public health law, anti-tobacco law they don't like. And even though they'd probably lose on it, it can intimidate a poor country or a small country into not moving in some cases because they can't really afford to spend the money fighting this lawsuit. So it really does shift far too much private corporate power power from sovereign elected governments to these corporate interests, and it really does undercut the values that we as a nation stand for. That's primarily the problem in these trade agreements, and it's important that we stop this one until I want to do more trade, but we've got to do it under rules that work for Americans and work for the developing world and work for workers.
We're talking with Senator Sherrod Brown. Doesn't fast track, which limits debate, I think, to 20 or 30 hours, and says that you can't amend the bill, and there's no possibility of a filibuster. It's a straight up or down vote. Doesn't that essentially strip you as a member of Congress of the powers that the Constitution gives you to deliberate on legislation?
Well, that's one of the ironic things here, because I got to think a number of Tea Party Republicans are going to say, wait a second, we're going to vote to give power that now the Congress has to this executive, this president, to negotiate agreements with foreign countries. Some of these people think the president was born in a foreign country and they're going to do this. So I think there's not the support that, they're voting against it for the wrong reasons. But I wouldn't be, it's fundamentally it is that. But most importantly, it's not just giving power to the president to negotiate. It really is a marked shift in power from democratically attained rules and regulations, whether it's an act of Congress or an act of a parliament somewhere, or a rule that their executive branch of their government chooses to enact, and giving power to corporations to challenge those rules in foreign countries and in other countries. And it really doesn't make, with the battles we've had in our country, and you've documented this because you present history better than anybody in radio. You've documented how we have struggled in this country for stronger laws protecting the disabled and civil rights and worker safety and environment and safe food, and all those protections we build in to help us live longer, more productive lives, healthier lives, and we're going to give that up so companies can challenge these rules. Because we never would have had auto safety if the auto industry had its way. We never would have had the kind of safe drinking water laws if the chemical industry had its way. These were citizen movements labor movement, with religious folks, with others, people of faith pushing this, and it's not given away, and they'd love to take it back, and that's why we've got to protect these.
Do you see any chance that the momentum that started in the 70s, really, with the Nixon administration, going to China and talking about open trade and free trade and all this kind of stuff, and hit a really significant milestone with the passage of NAFTA and the WTO, the GATT agreement, and then now TPP. It looks like TPP may, and the fast track, might actually be pushed back. Do you think that momentum that we've been seeing for 40, 50 years might be starting to reverse?
Yeah, I think people see what the results of globalization are. I mean, the fact is the public is generally against these. Trent Lott, the former Republican leader from Mississippi, once said you can't pass trade agreements and you got to do them in odd-numbered years. You can't do them in even-numbered years. Well, that's because the public doesn't like them. So Congress clearly has never really been in step with the public. And now more and more members of Congress, mostly Democrats, but some Republicans too, are really understanding that this isn't good for our country. I mean, trade is, I think, Tom, trade is the only issue like that. It clearly hasn't worked for our country. We've lost 60,000 plants in the last dozen years, 5 million manufacturing jobs. Wages are stagnant. It's not all because of globalization, but part of it is. So our answer to these trade agreements and what's happened is let's do more of them. And that really is, as I said, that's like the only issue I can think of that the response is, well, it's not quite working the way we want, so let's do more of them. And I think the public, clearly the public's been onto this, but I think more and more elected officials are finally seeing it.
Well, since the 60s, we've got an $11+ trillion trade deficit. We're looking at a $600 billion trade deficit from last year, I believe. If we were to drop $600 billion into our economy today, and that's basically the size of the Obama stimulus. Yeah. When you take out the tax breaks part of it. And look at what it did. It took us from losing 700,000 jobs a month to making 100,000 jobs a month. If we just brought those, took our trade surplus. Why is it that even a Republican? Why is it that everybody's so hysterical about the budget deficit and annual debt, and nobody's talking about the trade deficit?
That's really
annual debt.
The last time, and I'm going to cite a guy that you wouldn't expect. The last time I remember that a major elected official talked sort of an equivalency of those two, that what I believe he called the twin deficits, the trade deficit, the budget deficit, was Ross Perot. And I don't know that he really understood trade. I don't think he did when I heard him debate Al Gore but on NAFTA, but he understood that the trade deficit is just as insidious as the budget deficit, maybe more so, because George Bush Sr. said something interesting that the Republicans have sort of backed off, but he at one point said $1 billion in trade deficit or $1 billion in trade surplus is equivalent to 13,000 jobs. So if you have $1 billion trade deficit, you've lost 13,000 jobs. If you have $1 billion trade surplus, you've gained those jobs. Well, just do the math. Whatever the trade deficit is, multiply that times 13,000, that number of $1 billion. And maybe that's not precise or accurate, but it certainly says something that if you're making it overseas and not here, you're seeing these companies do something that in world history we'd never really seen before. A company will shut down in Akron, Ohio, or in Ashtabula, Ohio, and move to Wuhan or Beijing, China, and then sell their production back into Ohio or into the United States. And that really has never been a business plan with the kind of wide use that it has in this country in the last 20 years. Yeah,
it's really quite remarkable. Senator Sherrod Brown, thanks for fighting the good fight.
All right, thanks, and you doing the same. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Brown.senate.gov and SherrodBrown.com, the websites. And Sherrod Brown's Twitter is Sen, S-E-N, Sherrod, S-H-E-R-R-O-D, Brown. We'll be right back.